Do you know what I like to do when I'm hanging out with Scout? Say hi, Scout. Oh, my buddy. I like to look at some baseball cards. Oh boy, he wants attention. All right. I wanted to talk to you about something. I wanted to talk to you about the card hobby. I was watching Chasing Cardboard, and he has a guy on there that I instantly liked. Guy that got into collecting during COVID. And speaking of COVID, I have a cold I'm getting over. He got into collecting during COVID, like so many, and built up an amazing collection. Got the bug, got a passion, and just got into cards, started ripping cards. Then he wasn't getting hits, just like all of us, so he moved to just buying them and built up an amazing collection. Said he only ever sold 2 cards this whole time, but he's getting out of the hobby now. And I'm going to let him, in his words, tell you why.
This stuff here is cool, but on an investment side, I'm going with One Piece. And to be honest with you, it happened at the right time. Because the sports card world, it kind of pushed me out a little bit. Like the business of the sports card world and all the breakers and the repacks and the gambling. And, they say it's a kid's hobby, but you got to have 10,000 to buy this new product and this and that. So it kind of like turned me off a little bit, the sports card thing. So it happened at the right time. So I kind of like put it away for I don't think I bought a sports card like maybe 6 months, 7 months. And then the One Piece came along and it just, let's do it. Let's just get rid of it all. Because the hobby kind of like, it's all right, But it's not like what it's all cracked up to be.
So I've often talked about, when people come into our hobby and they see the shenanigans and they go onto YouTube and see the videos, are they going to stay in the hobby? Because it seems like we're chasing them out of the hobby. You got shill bidding and fake autographs that are being slabbed and all the shenanigans and scammers on Whatnot and other platforms. And everybody's out to get your money. You got PSA doing upcharges. I've noticed over the last few months, and I've pointed it out a few times, so many people are not grading anymore. They're stopping because you just feel like you're being taken advantage of. And how long can that go on before you finally do something about it? And I wonder, is this signaling the top where we have, this guy's leaving. Now, I don't know, this is one guy. I don't know if others are, but I do know that many YouTubers I used to watch no longer make videos. Many of them sold their collections and moved on. So I wonder, is this a sign of something to come? Now, there are some warning signs in the economy. And I've always said the number one thing that will hurt the card market is the economy, in addition to all the shenanigans that goes on. So let's take a look at that. You have unemployment starting to creep up. And man, UPS and Verizon just announced tens of thousands of layoffs. Earlier, Amazon and Facebook did the same thing, and other companies have as well.
Meanwhile, Verizon is reportedly getting ready for its biggest layoffs ever. Several reports say the company will cut around 15,000 jobs starting next week. And that would be 15% of its entire workforce.
A tough time right now for the job market. Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Laurel. Major companies are slashing jobs and impacting tens of thousands of workers across the country. We're talking big names like Amazon and Target. Some companies point to rising operational costs from new tariffs. Others are restructuring their corporate teams or redirecting money to artificial intelligence.
We don't even have data now. The government was shut down. The data was all messed up before it was shut down. It wasn't accurate. Now, in the stock market, it's flying high. Mostly because of AI stocks, data centers, those kinds of things. But if you look at a lot of the underlying stocks, your absolute staples, companies that have been around for decades and are good dividend payers and are supposed to be safe, there are so many of them at or near 10-year lows. And nobody's talking about this. I've noticed this on my own, just looking at charts. You take Clorox, one of the great American companies. They own a boatload of different products. Pay like $1.25 dividend. Absolutely murdered at a 10-year low. McCormick, you know, the spice makers, they own a myriad of different products too. That's always been a great stock. Been getting hammered. Campbell's Soup, they own a whole bunch of stuff. Absolutely annihilated their stock. I can go on and on. Starbucks is getting hammered. Target. I mean, you don't get any more middle America than Target. Chipotle just got absolutely hammered.
We've seen a pretty sizable step down in the consumer that's under $100,000 in annual income. Specific to that is a group, the 25 to 34-year-old, which we over-index to, has pulled back measurably. And we believe that consumer is now eating at home more often, not necessarily eating with our competitors. Based on our information, we're still gaining share with that cohort. They're just spending considerably less in restaurants.
Kava reported shortly after that, an up-and-coming restaurant chain with a similar demographic, and they said the same thing. Now, when you're talking about modern cards, what's the demographic? I would think it's probably 25 to 35, the same as Chipotle and Kava. So are these warning signs of something to come? You see, you can't go by the market indexes because they are inflated, right? When a company does real bad and their stock tanks, they kick them out and they replace them with a high flyer. Recently, the S&P 500 just put Robinhood in after it hit $140 a share. I owned it for years, starting at $15 a share. They were never in there. When it hit 140, they put it in and replaced a company that was doing poorly. Last year, around this time, the Dow 30 added NVIDIA when it was over $1,000. And they replaced a company that wasn't doing well, one that went down. And so you can't always go by the indexes. If you look at the underlying companies, they're not all doing so great. And what's most disturbing is it's the consumer discretionary that's getting absolutely whacked. You go look up these charts for yourself. So I asked the question, is this the beginning of the end? You know, when you see somebody paying $12 million for a modern sports card, like we just did, Kevin O'Leary, you know, he is a brilliant and successful businessman. But I don't think he knows anything about cards. I think he just started buying these. Is that the sign of the top? Because these guys, they don't care. These guys that are selling $12 million to each other, they don't care. But you and I, maybe we should care. I don't know. What do you think? Should we? That's what I had on my mind. Thanks for hanging out with me. I got to go.